I should have burned the footage the second I saw what moved behind the carousel. It wasn't wind. It wasn't shadows. It was something watching us. And when we watched it back, it watched us too. We were just looking for views. That's how all bad ideas start now, isn't it? A few thousand subscribers hungry for the next creepy video, and a forgotten amusement park out in the woods of Fall River felt like the jackpot. Closed since 1999, 3 alleged deaths, and 1 urban legend about a ride that never stopped screaming. Yeah, clickbait gold. Jess didn't want to go. Places like that aren't just abandoned, they're discarded for a reason, she said, lacing up her boots anyway. Ethan laughed it off. Come on, Jess. You think the ghost of cotton candy past is going to come after us? He slapped a fresh battery into his handheld camcorder and winked. I called dibs on the funhouse. We drove out at dusk. The GPS cut off 10 miles out, and the rest of the route was just dirt and fog. When we reached the park, it was buried in trees, its gates rusted and leaning. Welcome to Evergrove, the cracked sign read, with cartoon mascots long faded to sinister silhouettes. I remember stepping through the gates and feeling like we'd crossed into a different decade, a different world even. The air was still, but it carried the smell of burnt sugar and rot. The rides loomed like corpses. The Ferris wheel was missing half its cars. The roller coaster tracks were wrapped in vines. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was thick, expectant. Jess filmed slow pans of the main avenue. Ethan took off toward the funhouse as promised. I lagged behind, filming B-roll of the rusted ticket booth. That's when I first heard it, the low whine of carousel music, faint and broken, like a dying calliope. But when I turned, there was no movement, no lights, nothing. Jess, I called, did you hear that? She looked at me through her viewfinder. Hear what? Then came Ethan's shout, not scared but surprised. Yo, you guys need to see this. We followed his voice to the funhouse, its entrance gaping like a clown's mouth. Ethan stood inside, half lit by the setting sun. Check this out, he said, pointing to a series of old monitors lining the funhouse wall. They're still working. The screens were black and white, flickering. At first I thought they were showing old park footage, people riding bumper cars, walking with balloons, laughing. Then Jess leaned in, frowning. Wait, that's not old footage. She pointed to one of the screens. My stomach dropped. It showed the entrance gate and us entering the park just 5 minutes ago. Jess instinctively stepped back, nearly dropping her camera. That's impossible, she whispered. I moved closer, my breath fogging up the dusty glass of the monitor. The footage was grainy, but there was no mistaking it. There we were, Ethan leading, me behind, Jess at the rear, walking through the gates just minutes earlier. Except now something was different. Behind us in the frame was a fourth figure. Who the hell is that? Ethan asked, peering over my shoulder. The figure stood several feet behind Jess, half shrouded in shadow, tall, unmoving, with something draped over its head like a burlap sack. It wasn't there when we filmed. I was certain of it. Jess looked pale. Okay, that's not funny. I'm not laughing, I muttered, reaching for the play/pause knob beneath the screen. I rewound the footage, slowly, frame by frame. We walked in. No one behind us. Next frame, flicker. Then suddenly, the figure was there. It didn't enter the frame. It just appeared. Ethan gave a nervous chuckle, clearly unsettled. Maybe it's an old tape that glitched and overlapped with the feed somehow? No, Jess snapped, more anxious now. That was us, in our clothes, with our gear. This is today. Then on the next screen, the carousel. It had been still when we entered the park. Now it spun slowly, its skeletal horses jerking as if dragged against their will. One of the camera feeds zoomed in on the edge of the ride, and I saw that thing again. The figure, standing motionless just outside the carousel's perimeter. Ethan whispered, "Okay, I'm officially creeped out." That was when the lights above us, old grimy bulbs lining the funhouse mirror walls, buzzed violently and flashed on. We all jumped. A crackling noise came from a dusty speaker overhead, like a forgotten intercom sputtering back to life. A voice whispered, barely audible, "You're being watched." My heart thudded in my chest. Jess dropped her camera. "We need to leave now." "I second that," Ethan said, backing toward the door. We turned, but the entrance was no longer there. Where the clown-mouthed doorway had been just moments ago, there was now a solid, rotting wooden wall. No seams, no exit. "What the hell?" I whispered. I ran forward and pressed against the wall. It was real, solid, cold. Jess pulled out her phone, but the screen was black. No signal, no battery. Ethan kicked at the base of the wall. "This wasn't here 5 seconds ago. This isn't possible." A distorted laugh echoed through the room, not from a speaker, from somewhere deeper in the building, or below it. The monitor screens glitched again. On one of them, I saw myself, standing in the funhouse, staring into a monitor, just like now. Except in the screen version, I slowly turned my head to the side and started smiling, a long, unnatural smile that didn't belong on my face. Then the footage looped and looped again, and the lights went out. Total black. I heard Ethan breathe out, "No, nope, I'm not dying in a goddamn clown house." I wanted to say something reassuring, anything, but then something cold brushed past my back. Not wind, a hand. I spun around, heart pounding so violently I could feel it in my neck, but there was no one behind me, just the deep black of the funhouse swallowing everything. Jess whimpered softly and pressed her back to the wall. Then Ethan's flashlight flicked on. Thank God for that damn flashlight, and revealed a corridor where the control room wall used to be. "I swear this wasn't here before," he muttered. It stretched forward, lined with warped mirrors on either side, reflecting twisted versions of ourselves. My reflection seemed to twitch, just a beat off from my real movements. Jess's double smiled when she didn't. Ethan's mirror image lagged behind and then didn't follow at all. We were trapped in a maze that rearranged itself. I didn't know how or why, only that the footage, the figure, the whispers, they were part of something older, something this park never wanted uncovered. As we walked slowly down the hallway, our footsteps echoed far too loudly. Each creak of the floorboards under our weight was followed, a split second later, by a second creak, lighter, out of sync, as though we were being shadowed. Jess whispered, "I don't want to see what's behind us." Ethan turned anyway. I saw his face go pale. "What?" I hissed. He didn't answer. He just started walking faster. I turned too. For the briefest second, I saw it again, the burlap figure, standing in the hallway behind us, partially cloaked in shadow. It wasn't moving. It never moved, but somehow it was always closer. We picked up our pace, ran even. The hallway twisted, opened into another chamber, this one with a tilted floor and carnival murals peeling off the walls. Red paint, or something that used to be red, dripped from the eyes of the painted clowns and carousel ponies. There was a door, a real one, steel, chained shut. Ethan lunged for it. Get me out of this fucking place. He rattled it hard, chains clanking like gunshots in the dark. Behind us, the whisper came again, louder this time, almost directly in my ear. Don't look back. My instincts betrayed me. I turned. It was right there, closer than ever. The burlap sack covered its head entirely, stitched closed with what looked like piano wire. Its limbs hung like broken branches, jagged and too long, arms brushing the floor. But it wasn't just the figure. There was something wrong with the space around it. The air shimmered like heat waves rising from asphalt, bending light and sound. Ethan screamed. Jess grabbed my arm. I didn't remember running, but suddenly we were crashing through another doorway, this one into an old arcade room. The machines were dead, screens shattered, except one, the laughing clown. Its screen flickered to life. A digital clown face smiled, teeth unnervingly human. Then words scrolled across the screen. You should have stayed away. Jess collapsed to her knees. Why is this happening? We were just making a stupid video. I tried to stay calm. This place isn't abandoned. Not really. Something is still here, feeding off us, off our fear. The clown's laughter began to echo, high-pitched and electronic. From the machine, from the walls, from inside my skull. Then a final message appeared on the screen. Level 2 unlocked. All the machines powered on at once. Lights flashed. Music blared. The room spun like a sick carnival dream. And that's when I realized this wasn't a haunted park. It was a trap. A game. And we just started playing. The cacophony of flickering arcade machines and synthetic laughter suddenly stopped, like someone hit a kill switch. Silence crashed down. The screen of the laughing clown dimmed and blinked one last message. Go below. Behind the machine, we hadn't noticed the trapdoor until now. It was metal, covered in grime, with a single rusted handle. As if answering the message on the screen, Ethan stepped toward it, trembling. His voice cracked. We shouldn't open that. We really shouldn't. Jess, still pale and glassy-eyed, whispered, It wants us to. That's the point. I didn't know what scared me more, the thought of obeying the voice in the machine or the consequences of not obeying. But I opened the trapdoor anyway. A damp gust of cold air hit us in the face, rank and earthy, like rotting soil and something worse, something sweet, decaying. There was a staircase leading straight down into total blackness. Ethan turned on his flashlight again. The beam barely cut through the darkness. Stone walls, narrow passage, dripping water. I hesitated at the edge. We can still leave, Jess answered with a hollow laugh. Can we? Do you really think it'll let us go now? There was no more debate. One by one we descended into the gut of the park. The walls pulsed with moisture. Our footsteps echoed. The farther down we went, the more it felt like the park was alive, as if we were walking deeper into a living thing. A gullet. I swear I could hear it breathing. Then the staircase ended in a small underground chamber. Concrete floor, walls painted a faded red, and an old film projector. It turned on by itself. The whir of film spooling through the reels startled us all. The wall in front of it flickered, and grainy footage began to play. No screen, just moving shadows on the wall, jerking and shaking like old war footage. It showed a group of children playing at the amusement park, the same park. Then the footage changed, darker now. Children being led into a small hidden ride called the Tunnel of Joy. Their faces blurred, their bodies contorted. The next shot was of the burlap figure, standing at the ride's entrance. It turned toward the camera and walked forward, not in the film, in the room. Ethan dropped the flashlight. "That's not possible." I stepped back, heart in my throat. Jess began to sob. Then came the scream from the projector. One of the children in the film screaming with such terror that it split the air like a blade. The projector melted in a burst of smoke and sparks. The room fell into darkness again. But we weren't alone anymore. From the shadows came a wet, dragging sound and a voice not human rasping just behind my ear. "You saw what wasn't yours?" Something ice cold brushed my hand. I bolted. We scrambled through a tunnel at the far side of the chamber, crawling on hands and knees. The walls scraped at our skin. Claustrophobia closed in fast, the ceiling low, the air foul. We emerged in another chamber, this one larger, lined with decaying costumes, puppet strings hanging from above, and one old ticket booth standing in the center. Inside it was a chair, and on that chair a camcorder, still recording. The red light blinked steadily, pointed right at us. We were now part of the footage, part of the story, and someone or something was watching us back. We stared at the camcorder like it was a loaded weapon. Its blinking red light pulsed in the dark, steady, patient. Jess whispered, "It's been recording us this whole time." Ethan stepped forward, and before I could stop him, he reached into the booth and pressed the playback button. The screen crackled to life. At first, it was just us, walking, exploring, panicking. Then the footage warped. The colors inverted. Shadows moved where none should have existed. There were two Jessicas in one frame. One stood near me. The other just stared at the camera, not blinking, not breathing. Ethan dropped the camera. It shattered. The light went out. But we could still hear it, replaying, echoing around the chamber, our voices, our screams, and laughter, not ours, the laughter of children. Suddenly, dozens of tiny feet began to patter across the floor around us, too fast to track, circling. The lights overhead, dim and flickering, now revealed faded carousel animals mounted on the walls, goats and horses and rabbits with human eyes and sewn-on smiles. "Don't move," Jess hissed. But Ethan panicked. He turned and ran toward the tunnel we'd come from. The wall closed behind him like a door of flesh. His scream was brief, cut off. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he died or if something worse took him. But Jess and I were trapped in that room. And then, like a curtain being lifted, a new light came on, soft and golden, almost warm. In the center of the chamber, a ride began to spin. It was a child-sized merry-go-round, only the children on it were made of wax, melted faces, wide-open mouths, hands nailed to the poles. Each one wore a uniform from a different decade, and at the center of it, that thing stood. The burlap mask now split in the middle, revealing nothing. A black, swirling void where a face should have been. It lifted one long arm and pointed at Jess. "Come ride," it said. Its voice was every child who had ever cried inside that park. Jess shook her head, whispering over and over, "No. Number no." But her feet moved anyway. I grabbed her wrist, screaming her name, but she pulled away like she didn't even recognize me anymore, like the park had claimed her. She stepped onto the carousel. The music began, off-key and slow, and she smiled, like she'd come home. I turned and ran any direction. I didn't care anymore. I clawed through curtains of puppet strings, through a maze of mirrors cracked with age, until somehow I burst out into the light. Not daylight, spotlight. I was on a stage, wooden, dusty, in front of 100 empty seats. And the screen behind me lit up. Footage played, me, alone, wandering, screaming, begging Jess to come back. The audience wasn't empty anymore. Figures sat in the seats, silent, unmoving. Some in clown costumes, others in old carnival uniforms, all with burlap faces, watching, judging. Then they applauded, slow, deliberate, as the curtain fell. It's been 6 months since I escaped that place, or at least, I think I escaped. Sometimes, late at night, I hear the carousel music again, software in the distance, and when I check my phone, a new video is there every time, a clip of me that wasn't filmed by me, and the title always reads the same. New footage found, creepy park survivor returns. Like it's not over, like it never ends, like I'm still inside the ride.